Good evening, and welcome to the 37th Annual Walter Deptula Public Speaking and Essay Contest, presented by the Kiwanis Club of Meriden. My name is Jack Shorr, and I am a past president of the Kiwanis Club of Meriden and co-chair of this special event along with co-chair Doreen Roddy, whom I will introduce to you in a few minutes. The Kiwanis Club of Meriden was chartered in 1930, so that for the past 91 years we have been active helping children and those in need here in our community. We are a group of volunteers committed to Kiwanis International's mission of improving the world one child and one community at a time. You may know us from some of our many signature projects and fundraisers. For instance, service leadership programs like K-Kids, Builders Clubs, and Key Clubs in the Meriden schools, Citywide Spelling Bee, Super Bowl Food Drive, Education Awards for graduating high school seniors, Story Walks in Meriden's parks, numerous hands-on projects and fundraisers, Kiwanis Fried Dough at the Daffodil Festival, Kiwanis Comedy Night, and this event. The Deptula Public Speaking and Essay Contest was started in 1984 in memory of longtime Kiwanian Walter Deptula to encourage and to recognize outstanding writing and public speaking by 8th grade students. Each year, students are invited to write essays of approximately 400 words on any subject. The English Language Arts Departments of Lincoln, Thomas Edison, and Washington Middle Schools select the best essays from their respective schools as finalists. The finalists from each school advance to the Deptula contest. Each student's written essay is read and scored by a panel of judges, and students present their essays orally for the judges to review. The judges' scores determine each school's first, second, and third place winners in both the essay and public speaking categories. During this challenging year, when many programs and initiatives for students have been postponed because of the pandemic, the members of our club felt strongly that we ought to develop a creative way to provide this opportunity for Meriden's 8th graders. So for the first time in Deptula contest history, this year's contest is being presented virtually. The students have submitted electronically their essays and the videos of their oral presentations. Each of the judges has reviewed and analyzed them. Tonight, you will get to watch each student's oral presentation and hear the results of the 2021 Walter Deptula Public Speaking and Essay Contest. There will be awards in both the essay and public speaking categories. First place winners will receive $75. Second place winners will receive $50, and third place winners will receive $25. Students who do not finish in the top 3 places will still receive $10 in recognition of their accomplishments as school finalists. The cash awards will be provided by the Kiwanis Foundation of Meriden and by the members of our Kiwanis Club. Now, there are many people who worked hard to assure that tonight's contest would be a success. First, I would like to thank and introduce our other co-chair, past president of the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, Doreen Roddy.
Thank you, Jack. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you were able to be with us tonight. This is an exciting night for everyone, and I want to tell you that I really enjoyed reading all your essays and watching the videos. You all did a great job, and I wish you all the best of luck.
I would also like to thank the principals and English Language Arts departments of our 3 middle schools, who went above and beyond the call of duty to provide this opportunity for their students. Thank you, John Kuckel, principal of Lincoln Middle School. Thank you, Karen Habiger, principal of Thomas Edison Middle School. And thank you, Jessica Shawerda, principal of Washington Middle School. We had a special committee of Kiwanis members who thought creatively about this year's contest and developed this virtual format. So I would also like to thank Michelle Bordeaux, Brian Cofrancesco, Kate Cofrancesco, Martha Calarisi, Melissa Neville-Passarelli, and attorney David Weiskell for all of their efforts. As we get ready for the start of the contest, it is my pleasure to introduce our panel of judges. From the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, President Michelle Bordeaux.
Hi, my name's Michelle Bordeaux, and I'm the president of the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, as well as the executive director of Girls Inc. I'm so honored to be a judge this year for the Deptula contest, and I am so inspired and in awe of each and every one of your submissions, both orally and written. Job well done. Good luck, finalists.
From the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, President-elect Karen Ressler.
My name is Karen Ressler. I'm a retired librarian, former director of the Meriden Public Library, and current vice president of the Meriden Kiwanis Club. It was an honor to read the well-written essays and listen to the oral presentations of this awesome group of 8th graders. I know all will achieve great success in the future.
And also from the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, Secretary Melissa Neville-Passarelli.
Hello, I am Melissa, and I am the Secretary of the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, Connecticut, and I just want to wish you all the best of luck with our essay contest.
From the Record Journal Publishing Company, Managing Editor Eric Cotton.
Hi everyone, I'm Eric Cotton, Managing Editor of the Record Journal. I am truly honored to once again be a judge of the Deptula Essay and Speaking Contest, recognizing such outstanding achievement among our middle school students.
From the Meriden Boys and Girls Club and the Meriden City Council, Deputy Majority Leader LaRue Graham.
Hey guys, my name is LaRue Graham. I wanted to introduce myself. I am the Executive Director here at the Boys and Girls Club here in Meriden and also a City Councilor. I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to rate your and judge your essays and oral speeches. Very encouraged by them all. A very impressive group. Thank you and good luck.
From our legal community, Attorney Wilfredo Morales.
Hello, I'm Attorney Wilfredo Morales, and I'm one of the judges.
And also from our legal community, Attorney Elwyn Brewster Quirk.
Hi everyone, my name is Elwyn Brewster Quirk, and I'm an attorney in Meriden. I've been an attorney here in Meriden with my own practice for over 10 years now. And I'm very proud to be one of the judges for this Deptula Public Speaking and Essay Contest. Just a word to all the contestants. Thank you for the opportunity of reading your essays and seeing your speeches. I want you all to know that you did an excellent job in putting together your essays and your presentation. And I'm very happy to be a part of this. Good luck.
Thank you to our judges for their time and for their careful review of this year's Deptula contest essays and oral presentations. And now for our contest. Tonight you're in for a treat as we hear the oral presentations from the finalists from each of our middle schools. We will begin with Lincoln Middle School. First, we have Andrew Buscemi.
Hello, my name is Andrew Buscemi, and I'm reading my essay named Schrodinger's Phone Call. I lay on my couch, a couch that has seen the darkest, saddest moments of my life, to my highest points of joy. I lay there, not knowing if today would be one full of joy and excitement, or a dark and depressing day at my lowest point. All in suspense, waiting for that one fateful call that would decide the future of one important person to all of us. My whole family is praying that this call would be a good one, that this would turn a fate around. I try to pass the time, but nothing can take my mind off what will soon come. We wait, we pray. The suspense is killing us. I can't even cry. I've cried too much. I've been sad for too long. All I can do is wait. Schrodinger's dilemma. We wouldn't know if they tested negative or not unless we answered the phone. Schrodinger's dilemma. If we don't pick up the phone, who would know? What would that mean for her, for everyone waiting? I go with this idea 100 times in my head, but it all comes back to the exact same conclusion. It wouldn't help us. It wouldn't help her. It would only prolong the suspense, the anxiety. All of this would only continue if we decide to hide and be scared of the what if, rather than taking the pain that comes with the what is. When the phone rang, when that first ring blurred throughout the house, we all ran to the phone. I was scared of what this phone call would entail. We hoped it would be good news. We hoped that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, but our hopes were struck down just as fast as they came. They tested positive for COVID. We knew she wouldn't be long for this world. Her existing conditions and age have made that apparent. All we can do now is hope. Hope that things will get better. Hope that there will be the exception and survive, but the future looks grim. It all looks grim. We hoped and prayed as best we could, but as dark as it may be, sometimes we need to accept what happened and move on. Move on and do great things in their honor. In loving memory of Nayar Buscemi, my grandmother.
Next, we have Isabella DiMatteo.
Hi, my name is Isabella DiMatteo, and I'll be reading my essay, What They Gave Me. When I first heard I could write this essay about anything that has impacted my life, the light bulb in my head immediately flashed bright. I'd write about my parents, the most loving and caring people I know. Then I needed to decide which one. I went back and forth with myself for a while about it. If I wrote about one of them, it might leave the other feeling bittersweet. They both contain a profuse amount of amazing qualities, and it wouldn't be fair to leave either one of them out. My mom is the woman I look up to the most. I have an enormous amount of respect for her and the pain she must have gone through to give birth to me. I praise her for being the most important female in my life. She has continuously made it her #1 priority to be the best mother possible, and she hasn't failed. My brother and I come before anything else in this world. She wakes up every morning and puts her children before herself, no matter the circumstance. I've never once doubted her love for us, even on the days we argue. She is my #1 supporter when it comes to my academics, sports, and decision-making, even the dumb ones. But I can't just say all this about my mother and leave my dad out in the dust. Then there's the man himself, my other half, my best friend, my dad. There isn't much he can do without me following right along in his footsteps. I'm the closest to him than I am to anyone else on this earth. We share priceless laughs and talk in our own language that no one else will ever understand. His sense of humor complements mine. When we're together, they are constant smiles. I'm lucky enough to be around him in and out of school to see his strong passion for the things he cares about. Being a student in his school, I'm able to personally witness his work ethic and nonstop determination that I aspire for. He tirelessly tries to connect with the students and make their day better, just like he does for our family at home. Writing about both my mom and dad has really made me think. Every last piece of their personalities have contributed to who I am today. From my mother, I've gotten my caring and nurturing side. And from my father, I've gotten my humor and enthusiasm for what I love. I'm truly blessed to have been given these two role models in my life that I get to call mom and dad.
Next, we have Sky Blue Estrella.
Hi, my name is Sky Blue Estrella, and I'm going to be reading The Light I Needed, Thank You, Carmen. I am a Lincoln Middle School 8th grade student, and mental health is something that I wish was spoken about more nowadays. Not something we learn in a health class that no one actually pays attention to. Something that people could feel more comfortable talking about without feeling like they'd be judged for it, or without feeling like they're a burden. Mental health has always been a very important topic to me because I've dealt with it for a few years. I did a lot of things so people could notice that I needed help because I was too afraid to actually speak up about it, and that's something I wish I didn't have to do. and I wish for people dealing with mental health as well to feel more comfortable. I wouldn't say that I had the worst childhood, but I was severely bullied. Picked on because of my weight, the clothes I wore, and because I would think differently than others. In kindergarten, I was already self-conscious. I remember looking at everyone else's arms and hands and wondering why they were much slimmer than mine. Moving here to Connecticut wasn't any different. On my first day of 6th grade in Lincoln Middle School, I was bullied by a girl I hadn't even known. She was from another school, I knew that much, and she wasn't even as tall as me. She knocked me down to the ground using her backpack every morning for the first week of school, even when I would ask her for space, forcing myself to believe she was doing this on accident. Quit victimizing yourself. You're so dramatic. You brought this upon yourself. After moving up to 7th grade, I decided to write down my emotions every day, and I would explain why I felt the way I did that day. It didn't help at first. It hurt knowing that it had come to this point, me ranting to the notes app on my phone instead of seeking actual help. After a while, though, I had gotten used to it. God, one time I even accidentally sent an entire paragraph to someone who had followed me on Instagram. Carmen, who I would later grow closer to. We were only mutuals, only following each other because we had shared the same interest. Before I noticed I had sent Carmen the paragraph, they messaged me. How are you mentally? I didn't know how to respond. No one had ever asked me that, so I just broke down, spilling everything to this stranger on the internet. I learned Carmen was just like me, dealing with family issues and school trauma. October 2nd, 2020, the day Carmen and I first started speaking, the day I also learned to speak about my mental health. And Carmen never judged me for it, ever. We started checking in on each other daily. How did today go for you? What happened today that made you feel this way? You know, just a daily check-in. And before I knew it, we would end up together, romantically, or whatever you want to call it. Carmen has helped me more than anyone else ever could. They listened to what I had to say and told me what I needed to hear. And they actually care. In February, Carmen and I started a long-distance relationship. After very embarrassingly expressing our feelings to each other, they're like the light I needed this entire time. The light I was missing, that would guide me out of the darkness of the tunnel. If it weren't for them, who knows where I'd be, what I'd be doing. So again, if you're struggling with mental health or know somebody who is, help. It's okay to feel sad and it's okay to ask for help. We can't get over things on our own, and these problems won't go away if you ignore them. It'll only add on to the problem and create an avalanche of guilt and regret. And if you see someone who's struggling, help them. Don't force yourself onto them, but listen to what they have to say. Please, for the love of God, coming from someone who's dealt with this, don't lie. Comfort them and tell them what they need to hear. And please, don't pity them or treat them any differently. And with this, I'd like to say thank you to Carmen for getting me here, clean, recovering, and happier than before. So, thank you, Carmen. Love you lots.
Next, we have Nayar Gonzalez.
Hi, my name is Nayar Gonzalez and I'm an 8th grader at Lincoln Middle School. I think my grandpa recognized me today. Alfredo Ramos Mendez was born on January 10th, 1960. He is 61 years old. He was a town police officer in Puerto Rico for many years. He was handy, could build anything, liked dressing nice, and was addicted to buying shoes. He was a great dancer and he loved to exercise and stay in shape. His days now consist of an early morning smile from his wife, a taste of fluoride-free paste on a dental swab, a diaper change, spoon-fed breakfast, crushed meds dissolved in his favorite juice 2 to 3 times a day, another diaper change, spoon-fed lunch, afternoon cartoons in his comfy recliner, another diaper change, spoon-fed dinner, an evening snack, washcloths versus showers, one last diaper change before bed. I sometimes watch my grandmother or my mother tuck him in and kiss his forehead as he shuts his eyes for bedtime. Alfredo is my grandfather. My grandpa was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in 2015. He was only 55 years old. I was 8 years old at the time. Now that I think about it, I don't remember how my grandpa was before this disease began robbing him from me. The past 5 years, watching him become a child again, have taken the place of my own childhood memories with him. I look through old photo albums, contemplating pictures of him holding me, with the hopes that some sort of memory or moment with him will pop back in my brain. But those memories seem to be contained with those 4x6 images I skim through for nostalgia. Most evenings after dance class, as I navigate from the front door to our second floor apartment, I stop at my grandpa's door and take a peek inside. I am usually greeted by my grandfather, turning around in his recliner and acknowledging my presence at the door with finger pointing and a giant smile. I often wonder if he knows who I am, his only grandchild. On Monday, dance ran a little late, and it was close to 9 p.m. when I finally made it to their door. I peeked in, and a loud snore came from the recliner. I quickly retreated and shut the door carefully to not disturb his sleep. A lost opportunity to be recognized. On Tuesday, I opened the door wide and yelled an hola his way. He swung his head towards me, pointed, and mumbled loudly. I didn't get a smile, so I'm definitely sure I wasn't recognized. On Wednesday, I was beyond exhausted after dance, and I went straight upstairs. As I lay in bed, I wondered if today was the day he would know who I was. Did I deprive myself of it by skipping my nightly peek-in? Thursday morning, I woke up feeling guilty for not having stopped in to say my hello to my grandpa the night before. I decided I would do a rare midday visit during my school lunch break. I headed downstairs in the hopes to get a finger point and a smile, but I got way more than I expected. As I opened the door, slowly, it creaked and my grandpa peeked his head out from his recliner. His eyes lit up as he pointed and smiled. The familiar gestures were accompanied by a not-so-familiar sound. The sound was a shaky voice that said, "Que linda, que linda, que linda la nena." In English, it means, how pretty, how pretty, how pretty the girl. My grandpa always referred to me as La Nena. My eyes filled up with tears as I walked towards him, hoping he would say it again. As I got closer, he smiled again briefly before a familiar empty gaze returned to his face, a reminder of how unforgiving and cruel Alzheimer's can be. I think my grandpa recognized me today, and even though he might not recognize me again, deep down, I know that although his mind doesn't remember me, his heart will never forget me.
Next, we have Natasha Mercedes.
Hi, my name is Natasha Mercedes, and I'll be reading my Deptula essay, Grammy. Going to my Grammy's house is my favorite part of the week. When we go over her house, I have the best times and the funniest stories to tell my friends at school. Both my sister and I have the greatest memories at her house. Her house is practically our childhood home. When we were younger, she always went out of her way to keep us happy, like buying us mini pools or even just watching movies with us. Now that we're older, we still love going to her house, but we mostly stay inside because playing tag and jumping in mini pools isn't really our thing anymore. Now she takes us shopping and to fancy restaurants, which we can all enjoy. My Grammy has a funny accent that I always like to make fun of. Even though she can get through a full sentence in English, I still speak to her in Spanish because that's the language she understands the most. During winter break, she took me and my sister on a vacation to Dominican Republic, which is where she was born. Ever since we were younger, she told us she was going to take us there and show us how she was raised and how differently her house from the one she has in the U.S. When I went, it was an amazing experience, and we got to eat fresh fruits from trees, ride horses, and visit many waterfalls, and I learned how to properly wash clothes by hand. It was fun getting away from our parents, and also a wonderful time I spent with a new family I've never met before. Even though she yells at the smallest things, like not washing a dish or being lazy, those are the things I love about her. During the week, I always stop by her house just to say hi or to take some yummy food back home with me. Most of the time, she gives me money even though I don't ask for it. Sometimes I don't accept it because she does so much for me already. I still have memories of me crawling into her bed every time I had a bad dream or just wasn't feeling good. She always took care of me no matter what. Having her as a grandparent is something I feel very fortunate about. Not everyone has a grandmother like her, and not every grandmother is still with them. Some people have never gotten to meet their grandparents, and I'm lucky enough to still have mine with me, especially someone as kind and caring as her.
Next, we have Amir Mian.
Hi everybody, my name's Amir Mian and I go to Lincoln Middle School. Today I'll be reading my Deptula essay called Safety Patrol, My Outcome from Being a Well-Mannered Student, Shy to Pride. My 5th grade teacher handed me a life-changing opportunity when she was searching for responsible students to serve as the school's safety patrols. I'd expected to pick the top students first, but she came to me before anyone else. As soon as she handed the slip to me, I knew this would be a great way to display my leadership skills and bring fulfillment to my parents. Serving as a safety patrol leader impacted me as a student by helping me develop more leadership pride in my school, motivating me to put forth my best effort, and helping me build better social skills. Each day I served as a safety patroller, I grew closer to my school and became more passionate about helping others. My first day as a safety patroller seemed sudden because I didn't expect the responsibilities to be given to me so soon. However, I took the designated duties seriously and was determined to accomplish all my given tasks each day. As the responsibilities expanded, I became more familiar with the routine and took pleasure in my effort. This further affected me to become more involved in my school community by hosting for the school's spring talent show. I think it all started when my 3rd grade teacher began noticing the hard work I demonstrated in class. I took advantage of the privilege she offered to settle with the 4th graders for a day and get familiar with their skills. The class was very pleasant and made me realize that I had to put forth more thought in class to target upcoming materials. From then on, I started to actually study the topics I learned in class, instead of completing assignments to get them over with. I put more attentiveness towards understanding the subjects. This all happened because of my teacher who always wanted me to achieve greater. She turned my struggles to my success, and then turned my success to my passion. As a result, I'm now taking high school credit classes. Given the opportunity to be a safety patroller, host of a talent show, representative of my school on field day competitions, and recipient of Meriden's annual elementary celebration of the arts, gave me more recognition for my efforts at school. This motivated me to work harder as a student and earn additional awards. For example, I received high honors every term in middle school and was chosen to be Student of the Month by the school staff. I received these accomplishments by referring to my previous honors in elementary school and setting up new goals to achieve higher standards. I plan on continuing these habits as I move on with my education in high school. Knowing that all my hard work paid off, that I'm setting a good example for young learners, and that I have staff members ready to get involved in my path of success has helped me gain confidence as a person. This also led to me being more outgoing and building better social skills. Entering middle school, all I knew was my brother and a few of his teachers, without any friends of my own. As I went from class to class every period, I started meeting new people and building better connections with them through our shared interests. By doing this, I got familiar with my whole class and developed strong friendships with most of my peers. It turned out that you didn't need to be a popular funny kid at all. You just needed to look approachable and welcoming for a person to take a glimpse at you and feel some sort of connection to be friends. In conclusion, school, besides all its other benefits, can help you achieve personal goals. All your hard work will pay off in the long run. For me, Safety Patrol was my open door to reaching higher levels of success. Safety Patrol was organized just for students like myself to get involved in school and help others. Personally, Safety Patrol helped me grow as a person. I went from a very shy, nervous student to a well-involved, participating student even today. Thank you.
Next, we have Kalina Soto.
Hi, my name is Kylina, and I'm going to be reading my essay called Just Like You. Everyone used to say that I looked just like you, and that our personalities were very similar. However, when someone would say that, I would think, why would I ever want to be just like you? I understood why they said it though, because they never saw what you did firsthand. When I was younger, I thought you were the greatest dad too. I didn't understand that the reason you always gave me candy and soda was because the money my mom gave you for me, you decided to keep for yourself. They never saw you drop me off at my uncle's or my grandmother's simply because you didn't want me. But now I'm older and I understand that you aren't the best dad. The worst part is that after everything you've done, you still come up to me to this day and say I'm trying to be better, or I promise I'll never leave again, knowing very well that it's a promise you can't keep. Every time I talk to you, you ruin an apology with a dumb excuse, or you give me false hope, which hurts even more than you just leaving. Sometimes I wish you would just leave and never come back, so I don't have to hurt like this anymore. But I know if you were to really leave and never come back, pieces of me would break, and I hate that you have that power over me. But I also know that if I were to break, I would have people to help put me back together. I would have my family and my best friend, Asiana. Asiana was the only person I let get close to me, to the point where if she left, I would probably cry for weeks. She helped me in so many ways. Like when I cry, she makes me laugh, and when I'm in the worst mood, she makes me smile. I'll never be able to thank her enough for that. So when people say, I'm just like you, I know they're wrong. I will never be just like you. Because unlike you, I keep my promises. Unlike you, I don't make excuses when I know I've done something wrong. Unlike you, I'm a good person who says sorry, which is why I will never be just like you.
Next we have Thomas Edison Middle School. And our first student is Gabriella Bois.
The strength in friendship. It felt as if a wave came crashing down. Of sorrow, disappointment, and more than anything, grief. She had started playing the game, and I was no longer there to stop her. I didn't know the full meaning of drama until it came at me head first. Drama is around us in more ways than one, but the side effects are always prominent. Drama is why friend groups get torn apart and friendships end. You might be thinking, why am I qualified to talk about this? To me, this isn't about telling a story, but a chance to raise awareness of how toxic this environment can get as a whole. So I'm going to do this in the best way possible, by sharing my personal experience as my friend group has been a victim. Before drama hit my friend group, it was like we were all one unit, one unstoppable force. Until recently, when they all started to desire something more. Whether that was more attention or so-called popularity, I do not know. I also can't say I know exactly when the drama started. Maybe it's always been there. Yet, I can tell you, the summer of 2020 is when the real drama started. That summer, I'd been going to a STEM school for the previous 2 years, which in my small town was unheard of. The group of kids we were with in first grade were the only people that were relevant. In my hometown, most of the people had been there for generations and planned to stay there for many more. Due to this, I had made new friends outside of town and started to grow in my own way. I remember the day I started noticing the change in my friends. It wasn't towards me directly, but around other people. They would take their personality with me and raise it to 10 times the normal amount. On this particular day, we had a Girl Scout meeting, and one of my friends, let's call her Amelia for privacy, came through the door with so much excitement I thought she was going to burst. Amelia was so excited I had to see what was going on. Turns out, she was excited over hitting 100 followers on TikTok. Now normally I wouldn't think anything of it, as this was an accomplishment, and in my town, those types of things matter. How many followers you had was just another contributing factor to your status or popularity. This was unusual to me, as Amelia was one of the most rational and well-balanced people I knew, and it was highly uncommon for her to have this much energy. I can understand the appeal of hitting 100 followers, but I wouldn't go around flaunting it to everyone as she did, and many others before her have. I thought it was weird, but I hadn't seen this girl in over 3 months, and people change, so I decided I would ask her about it later. We had planned to hang out after that Girl Scout meeting, so I asked her then. As soon as we were in the car, she went back to the old Amelia I remembered, chill and laid back. The only way to describe what I had experienced was a light switch. 1 minute she was on, and the next she was off. When I had asked her about the question that had been on my mind since she came through the doors, she simply said this: I have no idea what you were talking about, stop being ridiculous. There were many ways one could take that sentence, but for me, I knew what it meant. It felt as if a wave came crashing down, of sorrow, disappointment, and more than anything, grief. She had started playing the game, and I was no longer there to stop her. Now you might be wondering what this game I'm talking about. It's a hierarchy in their school based on your social status. I hadn't considered something like this would exist until my best friend Ava, not real name, had mentioned it. Our so-called friends at the time had invented this extremely messed up system. The only reason Ava knew about this was because she was in that group for a while, but realized her mistake after they told her about it. She explained that there were 4 groups: the popular, the wannabe popular, the normals, and the averages. The popular was the group that most kids wanted to be. These were usually the ones that got good grades and are athletic. These people tend to have the most social media followers. The wannabe populars were the friends who followed the popular kids around. They were normally siblings of a person in the popular group or close friends with them. Apparently everyone knows who was in this group. They just aren't part of the main group. The next group is the normals. This would be where I considered myself. This is the group who minds their own business, has their little friend groups, and most importantly, doesn't buy into the hierarchy. The school that I am currently at can only be described as this group. Lastly, there are the averages. These are what the popular group calls the quiet kids or the weird kids, which is overrated and immature. A lot of this drama comes from these groups in their school and in which they are influenced by the people higher on the list. Ava knew all of this because she got roped into it for a week or so. During this period, I knew she had to realize it for herself, so I took a step back and focused on myself. As soon as she found out about this hierarchy, she told me about it and said that being in that friend group was toxic anyway. Now Ava and I do our own thing away from all the drama and rating. Of course, it's hard sometimes seeing them all together, but we know it's for the best. I genuinely feel bad for the girls who came up with the school's hierarchy. However, one by one, they're slowly starting to realize how toxic that group has become as a result. I hope all of them realize that instead of acting like they have so many friends, they should make true friends who will be with them no matter what. After all of this, I can truly say I understand the meaning of drama. I realize now that friends aren't about numbers, but about strength. The strength in your friendship shows it will be with you through the good and bad, and when you make a dumb choice, they will be there to bring you back. That is all that truly matters with friends.
Next we have Abby Chanderpal.
Hello, my name is Abby Chanderpal, and I'm from Thomas Edison Middle School, and this is my essay titled Different Upbringings. My parents divorced when I was 3 years old. I never thought of this as being strange or out of the ordinary because I never knew it to be any other way. On the weekends, my dad would pick my sister and I up, and we would sleep over at his house. During the weekdays, we stayed with our mom and grandma. This was our normal. I wasn't particularly observant as a kid, but I would notice the kids at the park with their parents holding hands, watching over them, the moms and dads at school concerts, things of that sort. I will admit that I felt jealous of those kids. However, I was never ashamed of the fact that my parents were divorced. That was until this happened. I was in first grade, it was a Friday, and it was lunchtime. Everyone was talking about their plans for the weekend. "I'm going over to my dad's house," I say excitedly. This girl, we'll call her Maria, looked at me, how my mother would say, as if I was mad. Maria then asked me, "Your parents don't live together?" "No, they're divorced," I said. She told me that was weird and began asking me questions about which parent I liked better, why did they divorce, is it better than them being together, such and such. I never answered her. At some point I had started crying, so the assistant principal pulled me aside. I asked him if it was weird that my parents were divorced. He said it wasn't, that she said that because she had a different upbringing, and I shouldn't take it too hard. I should have felt better, but I didn't. I began hiding the fact that my parents were divorced, only mentioning it if it was necessary. However, when I entered middle school, I met many people from many different walks of life. A lot of my peers had divorced parents. They were so open about it. I soon realized that this wasn't something to be ashamed of. It's a part of who I am. So, I too also spoke openly about going to my dad's on the weekends, my half-sisters, the 45-minute drive to his house, not caring if I was being judged. This small moment of my life played a big part of who I am today. I now know that others' opinions of me do not matter. The only person that has the right to judge me is me. Thank you.
Next is Soha Chowdhury.
I'm going to be reading my memoir, A Heart to Heart. I don't want to marry, my cousin, whose pronouns are they/them, said. We were driving home after a day of shopping before the topic of marriage somehow came up. It led into a heated debate about all the whys and wheres and whats of marriage. My opinion led to my cousin and Ray spouting their own stance on the subject. No one seemed to like her thoughts on it. They even seemed worried. I looked outside my window to watch the withering trees as they passed by in a moment of irritation. Their father glared at them but schooled his expression into a calm and firm one before proceeding to talk. So his parents can let her do whatever she wants, but I decide what you'll do. You are getting married. Ray tried to protest but was shut down immediately. Everyone else decided to stay silent the rest of the car ride, letting their father go off on a tangent in his own little bubble as he continued to mumble under his breath. It didn't stop until we got home, the tension from then plaguing the air. A few months later, the conversation from a few months ago had popped into my mind a week ago, and stubbornly stayed from then. I could no longer rest still without talking about it, so I willed myself to ask my mother about it the next day. "We can talk about it later today," she said while chopping up some vegetables for the curry. When the sun had started to set, the pink and orange colors of the sky blending together as proof, and the sky was turning into a pitch-black curtain, I had decided to go into the kitchen to grab a cup of water. I found my mother sitting at the table, and I immediately knew it was the time to talk to her. I could tell that she was about to call me by looking at her expression, nose twitching and a wrinkled forehead. I walked to the nearest chair and pulled it out to sit, cringing as the legs of the chair made an obnoxious screeching noise, like nails on a chalkboard. My mother stopped scrolling on her phone to look at me. "All right, talk to me." She looked curious but also reserved while sitting there. I unconsciously started to tap my foot against the floor, nervous to talk about what was bothering me. "Well, I wanted to talk about why you wanted me to get married so much." My voice came out a bit weak, but I managed to form my words. She looked baffled at my concern and then went deep in thought for a bit. "I used to because it seemed natural to me. Why wouldn't you get married? Don't you need someone to support you?" My lips twitched a bit before she continued. "But I think it should be your choice, and I know you're strong enough to be on your own, so I'm starting to believe that you should only marry once you want to." I grinned at that, my face brightening, and hugged her with a loud and happy shout. "Thank you." She looked surprised at first, her eyes wide and mouth slightly open, but her lips twitched up into a small smile, her arms wrapping around me. The moonlight that peeked through the windows shined prettily on her, and I don't think I've ever thought that she was so beautiful.
Next we have Fatima Islam.
To Get Lost in a Book by Fatima Islam. There's a dryness in my throat and I wet my lips nervously. I simply had to ask if Mom could drive me to the library. Not hard at all. Still, the butterflies in my stomach felt more like a swarm of bees. I tentatively placed a hand on her shoulder and asked the question with the most pleading voice I could muster. She gave me the look of a slightly raised brow and a stern mouth. I shrank but didn't let up. "Please, please, Amul." I watched in disbelief as her small head bobbed downwards in a slight but unmistakable motion. That was a nod. Oh Lord, she had said yes. Next thing I knew, I was buckling my seatbelt in the passenger seat with an oversized backpack beside my worn sneakers. I felt giddy and like a child in her long-awaited journey to the park. I suppose that was more or less true, as the library was my special park. The pale burgundy hue of the library came into view, and I sat upright. I sent a beaming grin at Mom and hiked the backpack onto my shoulders. Even before the car came to a full stop, I was swinging the door open, ready to greet today's security guard and fill my backpack with books. After going to the library, I physically could not look away from the array of literature. After a brief debate on which to read first and last, I studied the display before me. Like always, I had lined the books onto my desk neatly in the exact order they would be read. I decided to complete the Ash Princess series first, by Laura Sebastian, then continue to a long-awaited Red Queen literary series, and so on. I smiled to myself again, and without further ado, I gently pulled Ember Queen out of the row and practically skipped to my bed to begin reading. An unspecified amount of time later. I honestly couldn't tell how much time had flown by. The words flew from the pages into my head, and I flipped the pages like a reflex. I assumed it had been well over a few hours. My eyes scanned the pages over and over, my teeth sank into my lips, and the world became the story. I had barely registered what had happened until I found myself containing a yelp at the knock on my door. Habitually, my sister welcomed herself in with narrowed cocoa-brown eyes. She tilted her head towards the clock in my bedroom, indicating that it was way past time for me to stop reading. "Sorry," I murmured, and put my bookmark into place. I cursed myself for not finishing the chapter, and closed the book with deep regret. The sun had been flooding the room with light when I had started reading. Now, a deep indigo colored the sky, and my own reflection bounced off the windows. I sincerely hadn't noticed the daylight leave my grasp, but I doubted my sister would believe that. Judging by the stern lines in her brow and the slight frown on her lips, I confirmed my suspicion. Oh dear, I was most likely in for a talk about time management. Still, being able to lose myself to books felt amazing. Definitely the highlight of my days. I couldn't help but smile as I walked downstairs to give my apologies.
Next we have Mia Vargas.
I look at her with a glare. Who does she think she is trying to tell me what to do? Just because I'm younger doesn't mean I'm her servant. Most of this mess is hers anyway, so why do I have to clean up her stuff? I have billions of nerves. How does she still manage to get on every single one of them? I snatched her pencil case off the ground. I hand my sister her pencil case. This was the last of her stuff. I look around the room we have shared since I was 4 and she was 6. Looks so empty even though my stuff is still there. The car is tightly packed with all of the stuff she will need for boarding school. It's all the way in Massachusetts, about an hour away. Not a super long drive, but I will still miss her anyway, because I won't have her right next to me. I won't be able to turn and say, "Hey, look at this." I would be talking to an empty room, sitting all by myself. In the middle of my thoughts, I hear my mom say a final call from the bathroom before we leave. I walk to the bathroom and my sister is already there. I bang on the bathroom door. Why should it take forever in the bathroom? You're going to be late again. It doesn't take that long to brush your teeth. She woke up at 5, I woke up at 6. She had an hour to do all of this. Brushing my teeth is the last thing I need to do, but she's taking forever. Right as I'm thinking this, the door swings open. I see her walk out with her toothbrush and deodorant. "Is this the last of your stuff?" I say. "Yeah, it is. The bathroom is yours," she says as she walks to the car. I walk into the bathroom and all her stuff is cleared out. On the counter there is my toothbrush and my mom's toothbrush. It looks kind of empty with all her stuff. It's like someone took a chunk out of the counter, and it doesn't look right. I then remember I won't have to wait for the bathroom in the mornings anymore, because she won't be there. I use the bathroom and walk to the car. I open the car door and sit down. I start humming a song I heard on the radio, and she turns to look at me from the passenger seat and glares at me. "What?" I say, knowing that was probably the wrong thing to say. "You're too loud," she says, then turns back around. I stop humming because I don't want to argue today. As I sit there, I realize my nose feels a bit stuffy. I could be starting to get a cold. She turns back around and looks at me mid-thought. "What now?" I say with a bit of annoyance. "You're still too loud," she says. "What does she mean, too loud? I'm just breathing. I have a stuffy nose," I say with the last bit of calm I have. "Then stop breathing," she says like it's the most obvious thing in the world. I give her an incredulous look. I then start holding my breath just to annoy her. She turns around again and tells me to stop. Can't she just leave me alone? I was having a good morning. My mom gets to the car and tells us to buckle our seatbelts. I buckle my seatbelt of the passenger seat and look out the front window. I turn around to see my sister sitting with all her stuff, looking very excited. I was happy for her, but I know I'm going to miss her more than I'd like to admit. I know that I will see her later, but I will still miss her. My mom starts backing up the car and we're off. I watch my house fade in the distance. I feel as if I'm leaving our argumentative past and entering a new relationship. I will now have someone to talk to whenever I need to, someone to share laughs with, and someone to share my secrets with. I know she will be gone for a while, but I know I will always be able to say "see you later" to the best big sister I could possibly ask for.
Finally, we have Washington Middle School. Our first finalist is Kylie Canto.
My name is Kylie Canto and I am in 8th grade at Washington Middle School. I don't remember a lot about my early childhood. What I do remember changed my life forever. I was prematurely born at EM the Human Hospital on February 6, 2007. My sister and I were ready to come into this world early, but no one imagined what would happen when we did. My heart wasn't fully developed and valves were underdeveloped. If the doctors did not act as quickly as they did, I could have died. I had to undergo open heart surgery within minutes of being born. My mom didn't even get to hold me. During the surgery, one of the doctors was trying to get to my heart through my side, but in this process, my vocal cord was nicked by a scalpel, causing it to paralyze. After that, I had to undergo multiple surgeries, including lung and laser eye surgery and a tracheotomy at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I don't remember much, but I do remember my mom bought me a Minnie Mouse stuffed animal to comfort me in bed during surgery. I still have that Minnie Mouse. Over the years, I did a lot of speech therapy. We had to drive from Connecticut to Pennsylvania almost every week. As my therapy progressed, my ability to read and process improved tremendously. I was reading street signs and other words at 4 or 5 years old. Everyone always asks my mom why she didn't sue the doctor who performed my heart surgery. The truth is, he saved my life. My voice may be a little raspy, but it continues to get better. However, I'm still afraid to speak to people I don't know, in person or on the phone. I often get asked if I have laryngitis or if I have a frog in my throat. It does bother me when I get teased about my voice, but I've learned to cope with it. I just tell myself some people just don't understand. I'm grateful for the doctors who had the courage to operate on me when I was so little, as well as the nurses who took care of me. My mom sends a photo holiday card of us to Yale every year. I'm grateful for my mom, who stayed by my side through every surgery and brought me to all the specialists. I'm also grateful for my sister. Most importantly, I'm grateful that I can breathe air and live my best life every day.
Next we have Dariani Gonzalez Shaparo.
My name is Dariani Gonzalez. I am 13 years old and I'm going to read my essay, Like Mother, Like Daughter. When I was little, about 5 or 6 years old, my mom became a police officer. I would always see her change into her uniforms and put her shoes on. I would always tell her how proud I was that she was successful in life and that she went into a career she loved. She would always tell me stories on what happened each day and how it went. Ever since those days, I became really interested in being a police officer. Once I realized I wanted to become a police officer, I made a goal for myself to be a person who loves helping people and wants to encourage others to do good. One day, my mom sat down with me when I was 12 years old. She wanted to tell me something that was really important to her because by that age, that's when you start doing things and learning more about life. When she was on duty in Puerto Rico, there was this old man who was pretending to be someone else on the internet and was asking girls for things he shouldn't have been. My mom and her group of workers had a plan to catch the old man outside our mall. He was pretending to be a 17-year-old boy and even had a picture on his profile that looked just like a young 17-year-old kid. The mother of the girl called the police and told them how her daughter was talking to someone who was being weird and asking for inappropriate things from her. The day came and they had the girl's phone. They were tracking the old man and ended up arresting him. Ever since my mom told me that story, I knew I wanted to become a police officer to help kids and even adults going through problems like that. I might be young now, but thanks to my mom, I am really more sure about what I do and always make sure I'm doing the right thing. There are people in this world who just want to hurt innocent kids, families, and adults who have nothing to do with them. I want to grow and become someone who I always dream of and thank my mom for giving me the right direction in my life. In the future, I want to become a police officer, someone who will help people out no matter what and make sure that my family and loved ones are in a good place. I want to take care of my future kids just like my mom did with my siblings and I. I want to take care of them in a good way, which means giving them advice and hear it from them.
Next, we have Adriana Farfan.
Hi, I'm Adriana Farfan and I attend Washington Middle School. Social media is like an infectious disease to the adolescent brain. When I got my first Instagram account back in 2016, it was like a whole new world, having access to new information and ideas, an array of products that were short of a miracle. On the surface, it was a shiny new tool to socialize and learn new things. As I went deeper down the rabbit hole of the internet, it got overbearing. There were standards. What's trendy and what isn't, how you should act, how you should look, and if you didn't follow the rules, you were deemed weird or a loser. Instead of playing with dolls or spending time with family, I'd watch people show off clothes or play games. I wouldn't wear pink because some stranger on the internet said it made me too girly. I had begged my parents to let me dye my hair blue to look like Kylie Jenner. I hated the color blue. What hurt the most was that the influencers who practically controlled my life didn't even know of my existence. I felt so small and insignificant compared to the successful, famous people I longed to be. Just like every other kid my age, I developed self-esteem issues. The little voice in my head constantly reminded me I wasn't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough, skinny enough, tall enough, rich enough. I wasn't enough. I'd stay up until 3 a.m. doing exercises that would allegedly make me lose 10 pounds in 2 days. I was 10 when I wanted to start dieting. It was a new fad on Pinterest. 10-year-olds shouldn't be eating like 25-year-old supermodels. I grew weaker and paler. I'd look in the mirror and tears would fill my eyes. What was I doing wrong? Why couldn't I be like them? If only I could go back in time and tell myself it wasn't my fault. I couldn't change the face I was born with, nor the body I was given. Everything on social media is makeup and camera angles and the magic of Photoshop. I didn't have to be a gorgeous, skinny millionaire model at 10 years old. Trying to become something you aren't will cause stress and depression.
and at the ripe old age of 13, I realized it's impossible to be perfect, and even those we perceive as perfect have their own struggles and insecurities. I've learned to accept myself for who I am, and that is good enough.
Next, we have Alexa Hang.
My name's Alexa Hang, and I go to Washington Middle School, and my essay is called Be the Turtle. I've always been told to live life to the fullest. I didn't take that saying seriously, but something made me realize life is too short. Back in 2017, it was a normal day. I remember my dad coming home and telling me something was wrong with my brother's head. On February 23rd, Ethan was diagnosed with DIPG, a rare form of terminal brain cancer. It was hard to believe he was sick because he was a healthy 5-year-old boy. Family, teachers, and I were in tremendous amount of shock from the news. Even though my brother was going through many physical changes, he always had a smile on his face. During multiple doctor visits, physical therapy, and radiation treatments, Ethan's perseverance showed no signs of ever being sick and giving up. We just spent as much time together and we stayed positive. My brother was known for having a special love for turtles, fighting like a superhero, and beating everyone in a game of Uno. While Ethan and I attended Israel Putnam Elementary, he developed a special bond with each student and every faculty member. While my family and I were going through this difficult time, the school did all they could to make his last years of school the best ones. Fast forward to May 2018, it's been about a year and a few months since the diagnosis. On May 28th, I saw my brother lying in his bed, connected to an oxygen machine. This machine was helping my brother breathe, and the second I saw that, my heart dropped. It was really hard for me, a 10-year-old at the time, to see him have his last breaths. I was able to have a few minutes alone with him just to hold him and tell him I loved him. That day was very overwhelming. There were so many close friends, family, and teachers all at my house to see Ethan. My parents decided it was time to take a...
It's okay.
Can we just start from...
Yep.
My parents? Okay.
Yep.
My parents decided it was time to take the machine away and let him go peacefully. After the oxygen machine was taken, my parents and my 2 other siblings and I stayed by his side until his last moments. After he had passed, we spent hours with him taking it all in. When it was time, we were told to leave the room for a few minutes, and when we came back, to just a prayer bear on the bed. It had now hit us that he was really gone. We really had to say goodbye to our superhero. Ethan's legacy will live on forever in our hearts, and he made sure to leave a piece of him with everyone. Someone once said, be the turtle, walk slowly, look around the world, take in your surroundings, and don't rush. Enjoy life and be the turtle.
And next we have Tiffany Tran.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Tran, and I'm going to be reading my essay, My Family Ties. You're lucky, my 2 older sisters say. They lightly chuckle and look at me. You have their undivided attention. You should be lucky you're the youngest, they say, and my smile disappears off my face. They think I should be grateful to be the youngest, but in reality, it is a burden. People always say it's hard to live up to your perfect siblings, but for me, it's hard to rise above the disappointments and make a name for myself. Sure, I have parents that take care of me, but they don't offer me the emotional support that I need. They just throw me out into the world with the hope I will succeed. They can criticize me for doing just one bad thing and don't acknowledge the 100 good things I did in comparison. Why do they always have the constant need to make me feel like trash? All the time I seem to be asking that question. My family calls me immature and thinks I avoid problems. Well, they made me like that, and I learned to survive to thrive off it. They think they can see me, but what they're looking at is a mask I created. My sisters are close, and I'm just an outcast trying to listen to what they're talking about behind the locked door. Then they always wonder why I have such a cold exterior. What I'm most scared of, though, is failing. What if I become everything I said I wouldn't be? I am afraid of the future because I don't know what will happen and I have no control over it. But I guess it's good to be scared sometimes because it means you still have something to lose. Sometimes I wish I was born into a different family, a happy, supportive kind of family. I see my friends with what seems to be a picture-perfect family, and I envy them. When I talk to them, I realize they aren't the picture-perfect family I thought they were. Not everything is what it seems. My family did turn me into who I am now, and I quite like who I am now. I'm someone that I'm proud of. I realize even with my complicated relationship with my family, they will always be in my life and that they love me. I mean, after all, we are family.
Wow, didn't these students do a terrific job? And isn't it wonderful that we're all playing a role in giving our students a jump start into high school? Before I announce tonight's winners, I would like to thank my fellow Kiwanis members for their support of this annual event. Kiwanis is a group of volunteers dedicated to helping children and those in need. Kids need Kiwanis. If you want to make an impact here in our community, consider joining us. You can learn more at meridenkiwanis.org by finding us on Facebook or Instagram, or by emailing meridenkiwanis@gmail.com. The more members we have, the more people we can help. Kiwanis also relies on the generosity of our corporate sponsors, and I would like to thank these local businesses: Bongiovanni Insurance and Financial, the law firm of Solomon, Krubnikoff, and Weiskell, Muley Security Systems, Suzio York Hill, Prentice Printing Solutions, and Shorr Law Offices, LLC. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to announce the winners of the 2021 Walter Deptula Public Speaking and Essay Contest. May I have the envelope, please? We will start with Lincoln Middle School. In our essay contest, our winners are, in third place, Isabella DiMatteo. In second place, we have a tie between Andrew Buscemi and Kalina Soto. And in first place, with her essay entitled, "I Think My Grandpa Recognized Me Today," Nayar Gonzalez. In the public speaking contest, our winners are, in third place, Natasha Mercedes. In second place, Isabella DiMatteo. And in first place, with her speech entitled, "I Think My Grandpa Recognized Me Today," Nayara Gonzalez. Next, we have Thomas Edison Middle School. In the essay contest, our winners are, in third place, Soha Chaudray. In second place, Gabriela Bois. And in first place, with her essay entitled "To Get Lost in a Book," Fatima Islam. In the public speaking contest, our winners are, in third place, Gabriela Bois. In second place, Fatima Islam. And in first place, with her speech "Different Upbringings," Abby Chanderpal. And finally, we have Washington Middle School. In the essay contest, our winners are, in third place, Adriana Farfan. In second place, Kylie Canto. And in first place, with her essay, Be the Turtle, Alexa Hang. In the public speaking contest, our winners are, in third place, we have a tie between Alexa Hang and Tiffany Tran. In second place, Kylie Canto. And in first place, with her speech about social media, Adriana Farfan. Congratulations to all of our finalists and to tonight's winners. Each student will receive a certificate and an award check for outstanding creative writing and public speaking. Special thanks to the Maloney and Platt High School jazz ensembles for their musical performances today, and to the Meriden Public Schools Visual and Performing Arts Department. Thank you for joining us for the 2021 Walter Deptula Public Speaking and Essay Contest. To rewatch tonight's event and learn more about Kiwanis, visit meridenkiwanis.org or find our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Congratulations to all of this year's finalists and winners. I'm Shorr from the Kiwanis Club of Meriden. Have a good evening.